Start the podcast.
Welcome back to Blame Anesthesia Podcast.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Why do you have two drinks?
We're going to start this one strong. Watch.
Ain't no way. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Woo!
Last time I did that, we had to cancel a whole episode because I kept saying,
I'm like, it is a Tuesday. I'm just kidding.
That might have been loud, but this is going to be a fun one. I can feel it.
oh, I'm ready.
All right, so let's talk about something serious.
All right. Something serious. I don't remember what we're talking about. Okay. Somebody wanted to know about what schools we went to.
Oh,
So these guys never stop talking about what school they went to, so I'll let them start.
all right. So we are actually known as the Harvard of the South.
No, they're not.
So
We're from Florida.
The University of Miami. Throw it out, babe. That's right. So just to show you guys, this is the proper way to do it.
So obnoxious.
So you have to have your fingers together.
Yeah,
no,
fucking, that's the proper way to do
All
it.
right, chill.
Fucking loser.
So
See, we're doing it.
So we actually graduated from the University of
Loser.
Miami. I graduated a year earlier than Steph, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And Melissa and I, we are University of North Florida.
What is that?
Swoop.
Swoop. Ospreys, bro.
Jacksonville, Ospreys.
Don't worry about it. Swoop.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where we met. We're a University of North Florida love story. Now we're married.
In CRNA School,
It's
obviously.
CRNA School. So
that's cute.
We'll start off with that.
Me and Stephanie, we met a long time ago.
So I don't really know. There was a comment asking just like different kind of school types and like what was your school like. I know a lot about a bunch of different schools in Florida because our school sends us all over the fucking place. So we deal with tons of different SRNAs from other schools. So yeah, there's lots of like differences based on where you went to school. But for our school, we had tons of clinical sites. So one of the big things was like we did, 3 months in Tampa. We went to Orlando. We went to Georgia. Am I supposed to be saying this? I don't know.
Yeah.
What is happening? Why are people laughing at me? What, dude?
It's not you. I just started laughing and I couldn't stop. And then he started laughing.
She's drunk.
Yeah, whatever. So
It's a drunk episode.
drunk episode. All right. So basically, we kind of talked to a bunch of people and got different opinions on blah, blah, blah. But one thing I really loved about our program was we saw so many different care models. Our program was very like political. We had multiple teachers that were phantom presidents. So they pushed, obviously, like being involved in like your state chapter and stuff like that.
That's cool.
But they sent us to Georgia and other states. Like we went to Georgia, but we also had clinical sites in Kentucky. I think we had one in Iowa. Just
You guys went, or it was just
so we went to Georgia. That was like our big out rotation. But
It was really cool. It was a hospital. It was only 3 ORs, 3 CRNAs. They would alternate like 2 weeks on, 1 week off at a time.
one of the best like clinical or one of the best rotations we had. It was a small community hospital.
CRNA only.
It was 3 of the most hilarious dudes. Like they were just always fucking with each other. But it would be 2 on, and obviously they like utilized us. But it was our regional rotation, or one of our regional rotations.
So yeah, pretty much everyone got a spinal and a block. Or if it was OB, like if it was a C-section, everyone got a tap block. So it was heavy regional.
But you also learned how to like it was 3 CRNAs just making decisions. So for example, like all their ortho cases they would do with isobaric bupivacaine, and that's the smoothest total knee I've ever done. And no, if you go to these big hospitals, everybody just uses like what's in the kit for the most part. Where we're at, I don't know what's happening out in the world, but
The only thing I didn't like about that site was they didn't have pumps.
Yeah.
So we had to hand push propofol for an entire
no.
total knee,
Dude,
total hip, every
yes,
case you're
hand
hand pushing.
You didn't just micro drip it and just titrate.
these
to a-
guys.
They were building character.
These guys like got off on the fact they're like, no, you're gonna fucking hand push probe for this.
And
whole
while
case.
you're hand pushing, are you? Oh, this is a Mac.
Total
Oh,
knees.
Mac. Oh, I thought you were
Total
gonna
knees,
sit there.
Spinal.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like doing like a Tiva, and you're like
No,
pushing
bro.
and you're bagging at the same time.
No,
We're doing
no.
spine.
That builds
For
fucking
Max.
character right there. Hell.
But it was super funny because they were just like always fucking with each other like while we're doing anesthesia.
Yeah, one
They're
time I
just
went to set up my
pranking.
case. I like opened the drawer. There's a fake snake in it. I'm like,
Oh, that's fun. So you guys.
it was a good time.
Yeah, for us at UM, one thing, same thing that you were saying. I think what we liked was that they actually, we rotated through a lot of different facilities, and I think right there that builds, a strong. You're about to choke. That's a big gulp, bro.
Spilled everything on me.
Oh,
Do you have
that
a
is
napkin?
a party
Hell yeah, coming in
foul.
clutch, dude.
So at
My wife
UM,
knows me.
she's like dirty. So at UM, like I was saying, that we go to so many different facilities, and you learn different ways to provide anesthesia from multiple CRNAs and anesthesiologists. And I think coming out of CRNA school, that having that tool of learning from outpatient centers to like using those old school big like CO2 canister anesthesia machines. I don't even remember the name of it. I didn't even know how to do an anesthesia machine check on it. I was like, how do you check this? But
Bro,
yeah, it's just,
so that's what's hilarious. So I think maybe I've talked about this before. I don't think I have. I only use GEs like until I don't know. I was almost a senior. Every site I went to had GEs. I start my peds rotation. I've never touched a Draeger. I've never seen a Draeger. All they had was Draegers. This site didn't give us any orientation, like none. And they're like, all right, you're running this room. So I'm like, okay. I'm also doing peds, terrified, So I go into this room. It's the circumcision room or like the urology room. I intubate like a 6-month-old. So I'm fucking terrified. I got the shakes. Intubate, got positive end tidal. My doc leaves. I'm looking for the fucking switch, like the vent switch on this Draeger for like 20 minutes. I couldn't figure it out.
Just bagged the patient the whole time.
I bagged this
Building character.
fucking baby because I was trying to call my doc. She wasn't picking up. I'm like, there has to be a fucking switch, but there's just buttons on the Draeger. And I'm hitting the buttons. I'm like, pressure control, goddammit. Turn on. And it just like won't ventilate the patient.
Oh yeah, because you have to push it
There's
and then
a
hit the
fucking
knob.
dude. You have to
Oh,
confirm
my
it
God.
with the knob.
Oh, no.
So I'm hitting the knob, or I'm not hitting the knob. I'm hitting the pressure control button, and it won't turn on. And I'm like, where's the bag switch? And then senior SRNA comes in that I knew from a previous site. She's like, hey, Jimmy, I'm here to take over. It's kind of fucked up that they put you in here like on your first day. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I can't find the vent switch anywhere. Where is it? She's like, you just got to hit the knob.
yeah, dumbass.
Dumbass.
That's something like talking about.
She
Yeah.
saved my life.
Yeah,
bro.
like talking about school, like be nice to other students from like other programs
because they will save you.
Yeah, and you'll see them at multiple sites. We got really close with a lot of the Barry people. And
Yeah. So this was a
you're
Barry
building
senior.
connections that are going to go on. Like, I mean, everywhere you go, you'll work with CRNAs that you trained with at some facilities. It's such a small world. That
But
you
the
really
other
need to-
thing is like, okay,
Don't burn
so
bridges.
the site that I met this person at was a UNF site for the most part. Like she was the guest and I was kind of like, that was my home site. Where I did peds, I was the guest and this was Barry's home site. So like the fact that I was nice to her and helped her out and everything at my site, she fucking helped me out so much when I went to her site. So it's like, you have to be nice to these people. Like you can't be competitive. We've gone to some sites where it's like there's some crazy rivalry.
Oh,
Fuck
that
that,
was us.
dude.
That was us
I mean,
with FIU
yeah.
for some reason.
All right.
There were sites that
You want to call
FIU
people out, bro? USF, what's up? Why are you guys dicks?
They were
my
so
God.
They
mean.
were such assholes when we went to TGH.
They were part of the Mean Girl Club.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Bro, I was in a room all day. Like, I had been in this room. It was my assigned room, but there was a PEDS case, and some SRNA comes in. He's like, yo, I need PEDS numbers. You're out.
what?
And fucking kicked me out of my room.
I would have said I would see you outside, but we're throwing
Catch me
hands,
outside. How about that?
Seriously.
catching hands.
But that wasn't my site. You know what I mean? That's like USF's home. So, like, what am I going to say?
True. I think
you need numbers too.
Yeah. I mean, but he was a senior. Like, he needed his
Doesn't matter.
numbers
You need
more
numbers
than
too.
I know. These are where
Steph
you got to
would've
pick
been
your
fighting
battles.
people.
Oh yeah,
Steph would've been
she's
fighting.
short and mighty.
I get
Yeah.
there early. I pick my room. I do my cases. It's my
Yeah.
room.
Okay.
I mean, true, but it was just kind of like
let me cut you off. I'm so sorry, brother.
Can I interject?
Can I interject?
No.
So actually, what Stephanie said, there was always a big problem. So some of the facilities we used to go to, and this was, they would always, how do I say this nicely? They would always
You
have, resident anesthesiologists. Like, there was times it never happened to me, but I've heard some of the SRNAs, they would go set up a room, and a resident would just come in and be like, "This is gonna be my room now."
fuck that, bro.
And I'm
Nope,
like,
nope.
Wait. You allowed
Not
that
even
shit?
that.
And they're like, yeah. I was like, did you
Nah,
take your
bro.
stuff? And they're like, no. I'm like, what are you
Yeah, I would
doing?
have picked up
I
the
would've
setup
said-
and been, all right, I'm
I
going
would
to
have
the room.
said, oh, this is your room? Cool. Take all my shit and then leave and then go to another fucking room. But, there's one thing I actually really like that some of the facilities that we went, this was just like one facility, but there's other facilities that I went to, they treat us the exact same. It was not like this person's better than you. It was like, all right, Andy, you're going to do hearts, and then resident is going to do hearts after, and there was really good sites like that that I really appreciate.
It's all the culture of like where it's the culture of the hospital.
Yeah.
Ultimately is like what dictates that. But I mean, you just have to be kind of like understanding about when you're in school, certain sites kind of belong to certain schools. It's kind of shitty. Not that it belongs, but like it's their
It's just
home.
their home. Their
You know
home
what I
school.
mean?
Yeah.
So you have to know like when you're a guest and when you're at home.
That even happens when you're with your own classmates.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen with with the same like cohort, the same, where a SRNA will come in and she will be like, oh,
But don't do
like,
that
I don't
to
even see the other student. Like, I don't see her. So you know what? That's my room. Even though the room is set up, I don't see her. I'm gonna take it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not fair.
Yeah, that's just a toxic.
That's
that is
fair.
a toxic.
Yeah.
But that shit translates into like being a CRNA. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
toxicity like when you're working too.
So that's something like
It's another story.
Andy bringing up the residents. Like if you're looking for when you're choosing like a school, see if they send you to sites where there's a lot of competition. Like, are you going to have to be fighting to get your numbers, or do they set you up for success and send you places that?
So that's
you'll
what
get
I
them.
loved about our program. One of the big things about our program was we had so many different options
Yes,
of
that's what they say,
clinical
that too.
sites, whereas a lot of schools, I mean, I don't know how in detailed we can get. All I know is Florida.
So
I don't have
with
anything
Florida
else to
schools,
say.
There's
but
some schools that just have, like you kept saying, a home.
Yeah, so some
Those
schools
that stay with just a home, and then like we know FIU has Mount Sinai as a home base, a home hospital. They go there in the first year. They're there for a couple months. They rotate a little bit
They
throughout,
live
and then
there.
they come
That's their-
back
yeah.
again for like a whole year in the final year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So
But
like
that's a home.
UNF doesn't really have like there's so many hospitals in Jacksonville.
Same thing with UM. Like
Yeah.
has so
We-
many
we
hospitals.
have,
rotate.
So there might be
system.
like UNF kind of runs all the hospitals in Jacksonville,
Yeah.
like with their sites for
It's
the
a
most part.
the hospital system there. In
But they're all
Jacksonville.
different systems. So
Okay.
it might be, one's HCA, there's like UF Shands, so you have the opportunity to see all these different hospital systems in Jacksonville. So you see different what's the like Mayo Clinic, like there's
Which is
all,
super different from another site.
yeah, like
they're
there's
all very different.
different. Some of them are epic. Some of them are, I don't know, whatever. Like we paper charted, like our hospital was still on paper. So I learned on paper, and then now they're kind of.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. I thought you were doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to kind of sum it up, so as we all agree, both of our programs, they send multiple, SRNAs to multiple sites. In my opinion, that's what builds a really strong CRNA. Yeah. In my opinion, you see different type of ways of doing anesthesia. You meet different types of, anesthesia care team to independent,
but it makes you more versatile. So I'll just 100%. Also say, one big thing, the hospital I work at now, they don't fucking have Sugammadex. It's not, they have it, but you can't use it. And if you're from Florida, you know where the fuck I'm at. Not the hospital, but just the hospital system.
Correct.
I never didn't have Sugammadex in school. Every hospital I went, it was the standard. But I had to, as a CRNA, as a new CRNA, I had to learn to practice without Sugammadex.
Yeah.
Which is completely different than practicing with Sugammadex. Like everywhere I'd go, induce with rock, 50 of rock, another 30 on incision. You're fine. You've got Sugammadex at the end of the case. Now, dude, everybody induces with sucks. We barely give any rock because we don't have it.
Yeah.
And you have to maintain twitches throughout the case. But like going to all these different sites and practicing different ways of anesthesia helped me with just that little flip to...
So when you go to different hospitals and you're limited with resources, if you're as a student, you're able to rotate through many hospitals. It'll make you stronger.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're able to use neostigmine and glyco and reverse with that, that's good. You'll learn how to use that.
Or for example, going to
it's like very easy to use.
Yeah. But like going to Georgia and having to hand push for total hips made me very confident at max.
Oh yeah, we got really good at max.
So wherever I go and I have to do a mac, if they have a pump, fucking awesome. But if not, whatever. Like I've done this. You know what I mean? But if you train at one hospital system that everything is the same, they have the same drugs, the same charting system. It can be a little stressful if you venture out of that when you go to get
and something job. I think Stephanie was saying, if you consistently go to one hospital, I don't want to sound fucked up, but it's you learn one way anesthesia.
And you
need our career is critically thinking, seeing different things, putting in different situations. Universities that have different clinical sites, and you're consistently moving, makes you, in my opinion, a very strong CRNA. And I think that's one thing.
So not even
both
that.
I guess both of our universities did
Melissa
very well.
And I are both W-2. You guys are locum. And so we can, that'll be another conversation.
And just kind of and kind of coming off of that, just like a little quick bit from that is if you go to a university that they consistently put you in different hospitals every 3 months, honestly, if you want to be a new grad and you want to do locum, in my opinion,
you're used to it.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
You know the difference.
You've been living the locum life.
In my opinion, you
the vida locum.
Coming out of CRNA school, actually, like we're talking about coming out of CRNA school, doing multiple sites. Honestly, my opinion, and this is how I actually convinced Stephanie to go into locums. I said, the only difference of being a locum is as like a SRNA to getting into locums, and don't judge, is now you're getting paid. Because every 3 months, you're going to a new site. What do you do at a new site? You fucking learn their system. You learn their culture. It's the same thing as a locum. Anesthesia is anesthesia.
Yes.
It's not
going to change.
Exactly. Who's bringing the anesthesia is you. You decide whatever the fuck you want to do. Yeah. But the only difference is you just have to consistently go to another site.
I think one of the best things too, going to multiple sites, is the patient populations are so different everywhere.
It's 100%. Crazy.
Like our patients are so sick here, and we've been to other sites where they're sick, but it's a whole different animal here.
Yeah,
and then you go to some places, that it's like, oh, these patients are great. Like you're doing.
I think here, like where, like the town we're in, they're not optimized at all. They've never been to a doctor. They just have
I feel
they don't
that's,
know
in general,
anything.
America.
True.
It's
True.
Like you talk to our friends like in other states, they're having the same
True.
thing.
It's
BMI of
just-
60s, 70.
But
like,
most of our patients are transfers from other hospitals where
Yes.
they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we can't
because
take
you're
care
in a
of this
trauma
patient.
hospital.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So since we're in a trauma center, it's just like everything that other people won't touch, they send to us, and you just gotta do it.
So now, just talking about, we spoke about how, our university, before our universities, we believe why it's strong is because we go to multiple sites. But now I want to actually focus on how do you feel about your actual university when it comes to either supporting your SRNAs, education itself. So what do you guys think?
I'll
Just specifically not related to, kind of related to the clinical, but focus more on.
I'll kind of talk about. I fucking love my school, like UNF. It's the only school I went to, obviously, but all of our professors love what they do, like all of them.
I love anesthesia. I see.
They love it, and they support you so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of these programs where they're like, I'm gonna weed out. I'm gonna take in 50 people and let's weed out 25.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thing to bring up.
Yeah. So as far as like academic wise, like I said, we went to University of North Florida. There's a lot of different types of school types. Some are like, let's admit everybody and fucking weed them out like early on.
Yeah.
Ours was completely different. If you got in, they wanted you to graduate. Like there was no weed out process.
How many
were
students do they?
So I think we had like 26 ish.
Oh, wow. What is ours? Maybe it's like 40. If
I mean that's
30?
a bigger class.
Yeah, I think it's like I remember it was like around 30.
It was 35 students. So yeah, 35.
It's a
I think
smaller.
ours has gotten a little bigger now. It just depends on like
Bring more CRNAs,
funding.
baby.
and all
Honestly, I
that
feel
stuff.
like a smaller class is better
Yeah.
because I feel like
But-
a bigger class you get kind of lost.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it doesn't feel so. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like
Like
intimate.
Intimate.
But like one of the big things that I felt about our class was like we knew all of our teachers like pretty well.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Same.
Like they knew everybody's situation. Another thing that was kind of crazy is like obviously like we started dating probably a year in and
Ooh.
everybody nobody made it weird.
Ooh.
I know.
Sure.
Scandalous.
So you think?
Nobody made it weird.
Everyone was asking.
They don't, as long as you're performing well and getting good grades, they don't care. Like
Yeah, they let us go to every clinical site together, which
Oh,
is
wow.
awesome.
we
That's
both
cool. That's
started
cool.
doing better once all
were
this
together?
happened. You know what I mean?
Better together.
Get cute.
No, but seriously, like I don't know. We started like we did well in class. So as long as you're doing well in class, they
Yeah.
don't
Yeah, there was
care.
really nothing that they could say. Like,
Yeah, we're doing well in class. We're doing well in clinical. They didn't make it a big issue, and there's multiple CRNA couples that have kind of gone through it. Like we're not the first one, but other things. Our program was also like very political. We had multiple instructors that were fan of presidents.
Nice.
We had a awesome DMP project. Like I don't.
it was
even,
in like multiple courses, so they
I don't
really
even
guided
know-
us through the whole.
Yeah, so I had. I'll just bring up Barry in Orlando. We had multiple friends. Like we worked closely and went to the same sites as like some SRNAs from Barry. They didn't have near the guidance we did when it came to our DMP project. Like our project was done by the time we needed it to be done because so many classes that we had were like, all right, you're going to come up with your project idea. And that's the whole idea for this class. And the next one is you're going to write your whole fucking paper. And then by the time you're ready to graduate, you just combine everything and your project's done. Yeah. Like the
And
way
they were good with like the deadlines. Like they had us all submit to ANA. So like we were fortunate we got to go present our project in Seattle.
but
which was,
so did like
such a
half of
memorable
our class.
experience.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
think-
they
that's
pushed.
something we have to talk about later on then.
They
That's cool.
they made like our entire class submit for publication and,
Us too.
and
That's
AANA.
us
Us
too,
too.
but only
Us too.
But-
I would say like a handful of people.
I think
No,
that we had
like,
about
I-
10.
so
I would say
we-
like 10ish got accepted into the AANA.
So we had
That's cool.
3, I think, that actually presented like a presentation, but we had multiple posters. So there was like you can go and present and you do like a 15-minute presentation and you have a poster, or you just got invited for a poster. So we actually got invited for like a presentation. So we presented and had a poster.
I heard Melissa presented.
So I didn't
Well, I did
do
the whole project.
yeah, I didn't do any of our projects.
Melissa was like, "Honey, just jump on my back. I'll carry you.
Yeah,
Don't worry."
That's the one thing she holds over my head till this day.
Good. She should.
Yeah.
Until the
I
day
mean-
you guys
just
are
showed
out
up.
of this world.
I just showed up and
Trust
talked.
me, I'll do the same if Steph was in my class.
He's like, guess we're getting a 0 if you don't do it.
So
But I started out like I was so strong. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking write this paper, and then
Melissa
I
looked
just
at it
didn't.
and said,
yeah, I just didn't do it.
"Let me
Wow.
show you how you were supposed to write."
I said, why is every word underlined in red?
So I mean, like, long story short, I think if you find a program that like wants you to succeed, it's much like I rather go to a program like that and have
Then
a
accept
smaller
anyone. Yeah.
than just accept anybody and try to weed you out. Like CRNA school is hard enough as it is. I don't want somebody fighting against me. I rather somebody support me. Because like personally, I feel like I was pretty stupid. I didn't have the best grades. I
No
mean, I
CRNA
still
is
am.
stupid.
No, but
I
I
get what
didn't.
you're saying.
I wasn't a 4.0 student.
That's all right.
I did it. I did okay in nursing school. Like I had experience and stuff, but I graduated with like a fucking 3.9.
Wow.
Which is insane because I've never got that in my life. Not even close.
You know, I think, and this is something I always hear from nurses. I'm applying to CRNA school, and I'm just going to jump on this real quick. Is you have to be smart, but it's all about the hard work you put into it.
It's more, do you
'Cause-
want it?
exactly.
Dude? It has
Anyone,
nothing-
I don't want to say anyone, but you can do CRNA school, but you need to put in the work.
You don't
I don't
have
care
to be
how
a
smart you
4.0
are.
student.
You just need to put in the fucking work. If you put in the work, you will succeed.
And these
If-
schools want you to just put in the effort to learn how to do. If you learn how to do this shit, you're gonna get an A.
You're gonna get it. Yeah.
But you have to spend so much time learning
Yes.
how to do this shit. All right, you win, bro. Let's
It's
hear
all
it.
about the you. So very
You don't
similar.
want to live in Miami. Let's just be real.
That is true. Well, that's the only downfall. Is Miami
No,
is
you-
just crazy.
You don't want to live in Miami if you've lived in Miami. Everyone else who hasn't lived in Miami wants to live in Miami.
That's a
That
good
is
point.
true.
And that is why they go to University of Miami.
That's right. The best. The
They're like, oh, Miami's a good place.
So talking about the university. Honestly, kudos to you guys. Your university. I'm pro CRNA. You know how I am. I love CRNA. I love our profession. I think that is fucking dope. You guys have professors that are fan of presidents. That is sick. That shows that your university loves our profession and is so pro CRNA that they teach their students that this is our profession and you need to love your profession. Yeah. And I absolutely give you guys credit to your university. Sounds like a university that really tries to put our profession forward and grow. And
Andy.
Yes, and long-winded.
Get to the point.
Now we're going to talk about the University of Miami. So University of Miami, I believe that I think that our program, they really put us forward and they really look out for us and they really want us to be strong CRNAs, and they really...
Well, you guys trained at like a bunch of crazy ass hospitals.
Oh yeah, level 1 trauma centers.
Like what, Jackson?
Jackson, yeah. Jackson, one of the top hospitals in the whole United States. Honestly, you see the craziest shit ever. Another thing, not clinical. I'm trying to get away from the whole clinical thing.
So another thing had was a simulation hospital.
Oh my God. It's a whole
we didn't
hospital.
So
It's
I feel like we didn't do
crazy.
enough sim. I would have liked to do a little bit more sim.
So
I
that's
think
why
they're
I
doing
feel
more
like
sim now.
So prides itself on the simulation hospital and the virtual reality, because one of the professors actually did create some type of program where you're able to simulate OR fire.
Yeah.
So
That's
we'll
really cool.
have the
That's
virtual
awesome.
goggles on, and you'll see it, and then you'll have a time in the simulation lab where you're able to act
As
upon
if-
that, and like how do
I
you,
just picture
what do
you guys
do?
in like the goggles, and you're like
Yeah. Huge,
stop,
and you're
drop,
like,
and roll,
And I
like
have,
in the
I
goggles.
have photos
You like
and
run
videos of
into a
it.
wall. Get a
Insert
black
Stephanie's
eye.
photo
Sometimes you'd be like,
here.
the fire will be on your hand. Like the fire's on a mannequin. So UM had
Technology
they tried
is
to
insane. It's really cool.
they were up to par. Like they actually did try to do not just like clinical, like okay, off clinical when we're actually practicing, because we don't want to practice on a patient. We want to practice on a sim. So you have the mannequins to do your spinals, your epidurals, your virtual reality to do an OR
Your
fire,
central lines and stuff like that,
Cases where you're doing malignant hyperthermia. How are you going to quick to react in the simulation?
I remember the first thing you do. You know what the first thing you do? You're supposed to call the hotline. I was like, what? But
But we were actually taught, like, remember
Done.
that phone number.
Yes. So like it's in my opinion, University of Miami, what I really enjoyed it is that they really pride themselves in their simulation, preparing their SRNAs to become independent practitioners, to really rely heavily on their strengths and understand when they need assistance. It's okay to call from help from either other CRNAs or anesthesiologists. But
Heck, there's even times in our sim lab, but they had the professors kind of act as a circulator or as a surgeon or whatever. They'll
Or
be
as
playing
another
music, and they'll be
yeah.
like, they want to
Dude,
see you. Be like,
CRNAs
can you turn off the music?
Yes,
So it's something
yes.
serious is happening right now. Like, please, I don't want to focus.
CRNA
They wanna see you be that
instructors
way.
acting is the funniest.
It's the-
they're
Yeah, it is.
terrible.
horrible actors. I'm like,
When they're trying to
stick
act like a
anesthesia.
circulator, they're like just being the dumbest
Yeah, like,
circulator
what is that?
they've ever encountered.
What's happening? What? I can hear you over the music.
I think
had
that
one
was
with OB. She's like, and I was like, all right, man.
that was like one of our simulations. I think it was like it was an abdominal case, like a laparoscopic case, and the patient went like asystole or bradycardic on insufflation. And they were like, "Oh, what do I do?"
But
You
it was
need me
great
to
that
turn it
one
down?"
professor was pretending to be the surgeon. She was like banging on the stomach, like they always do to test insufflation.
We had that too.
Yeah,
But it's
And
so
just like-
dramatic.
yeah, just like a CRNA's rendition of like what a surgeon is,
But I
just
think-
being so silly.
I think as a future SRNA, looking into as an ICU nurse looking into a university, me personally, I think, number one, does your school support you to become a strong CRNA? I think that's important. Two, how many sites are you going to be rotating through?
That's the biggest thing. It sounds like
100%.
UM and UNF were very similar
Yes,
in
very
that
similar.
aspect. I think first of all, like for example, I don't know. I'll just say it. I don't care. For example, Advent, I think they only train at like Advent. And I'm not saying Advent's a bad hospital. Advent has one of the biggest, it's like 1,700 beds. They have all the fucking
crazy,
cases. They do the craziest transplants. Like I worked there as a ICU nurse for a while as a traveler. It's a fucking crazy hospital, and they do bigger cases than I've done at probably any of the hospitals I've trained at. However, it's the same charting system, and you're only training at that facility or other facilities that use the same charting systems. And I feel like that may be a downfall. That's the only thing, but I'm not dissing Advent. Like dude, our old ass friend, Emmis, he's a fucking Advent.
That guy-
he's in
that guy
Advent.
got
He's pretty okay.
Yeah,
No,
he's an
a
Advent
bomb.
grad.
Yeah,
He's a gangster. He's who I go to
dope,
when
dude.
I need any advice on any case ever. But I'm just saying, like, that one thing, like when it just comes to like versatility, I kind of like that I went to multiple places.
I think if you, so like anyone who's like trying to look at a CRNA school, right?
Just get into
look, not even that,
fucking
get
become
into
a CRNA. That's the
you
ultimate
look
goal.
into what is important to you.
Yes.
So one thing that was important to us going into UM was, like we've mentioned already like a couple of times, the number of sites you're going to. Because here's another thing. I thought I was going to be working in Miami. I thought I was going to be there. So that was important for me to see all the hospitals. What options can I work at?
Because it's job opportunity.
Exactly.
You want to know, like,
so it depends.
how is it to work at this hospital before you sign a contract?
So it really depends on what's important to you.
Yeah.
Is that important? Simulation, is that important to you? So what resources you have as a student?
Well, that's another thing we can talk about. Like, I mean, most people, if they're taking a job, it's at a place you worked at as an SRNA. We took a job at a place we haven't worked at.
Same.
And kind of took a gamble. Like, turns out we like where we work, but it could have gone bad.
If not, the 10 plus sites that you've been at as a potential backup.
Yeah. But, well,
I just want to say,
all right,
before we end, because I'll end it.
Yeah, end it.
It's all about the you, and it's about
the swoop.
Swoop.
Whoop,
Find yourself.
Whoop,
There it is. Find yourself a university. First, get your ass into CRNA school. Being a CRNA, absolute best. Get into anesthesia. Anesthesia is the absolute best. We obviously really love our university, both couples. And we really, really, really love our profession. And yeah.
Thanks for watching. Comment. All right, take it away, babe.
Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Leave us a thumbs up if you like this video. Drop us a comment of anything else you want us to talk about.
That's it.
It's all about the you.
See you later.
Irregardless.